Why is ring culture so much more prevalent in the NBA than in other sports?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport and why it's the all be all of everything.
But you have to really play hard. Does that hurt you physically?
No, because when I play hard all the time. You know, there's no turn it on here, turn it off here. It's just 110% all the time.
Yeah, I'm 10, 12 years in. I got 4 MVPs and 4 championships. Like, do I still want to do this shit? You know what I'm saying?
You know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
It's all about winning championships and winning.
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
You know, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy way up on top who probably worked his ass off to get a ticket or to get money to buy the ticket.
You really cared about the guy who sat in the top deck at the Palace in Auburn Hills to watch you when you came to Detroit?
Yeah, because I know he's probably yelling at me and I want to shut him up. So if the guys are coming to watch me play, I don't want to miss that opportunity. Now, physically, if I can't do it, then I can't do it. But physically, if I can do it, and I just don't feel like doing it, that's a whole different...
NBA legends are finally breaking their silence, and this time, they are coming with serious criticism. Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, and former Michael Jordan teammates are taking aim at Kevin Durant and LeBron James. For years, these basketball icons watched from the sidelines as the league slowly moved further away from the game they once competed in. They witnessed the constant showboating, endless social media drama, and growing obsession with personal brands instead of basketball itself, but they kept their respect and stayed quiet until now.
If you're going to make $50, $60 million a year and just say, hey, you know what, I'm only going to play 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, at some point the fan going to be saying, wait a minute, you're charging me this much?
Because LeBron and Durant finally crossed a line that many believe should never have been crossed. They sat on a podcast and joked about Michael Jordan's legacy, treating the man who became basketball's greatest symbol like a punchline. That was the moment the old guard finally pushed back, saying, enough. This is no longer simple criticism. This is about exposing the entire act. These legends are challenging what they believe is fake about today's self-proclaimed kings, from oversized egos and constant insecurity to endless celebrity-driven attention. Stacey King, who won 3 championships playing alongside Jordan, decided he was done staying silent. After hearing LeBron and KD joke about Jordan's baseball chapter, King fired back without hesitation. He even renamed LeBron's show the Cry Me a River podcast, accusing the stars of constantly chasing public approval. He, in music, made the message simple: great players don't need to convince people they're great. That comment struck a nerve because it brought the conversation back to what matters most. King reminded everyone that Jordan never needed a podcast to defend his reputation or explain his greatness, because his performances, championships, and legacy already answered every question. Meanwhile, LeBron and Durant continue spending plenty of time discussing their own achievements. And King wasn't finished yet. He accused both players of worrying too much about what fans and critics think instead of letting their performances settle the debate. King also pointed toward what he considered the biggest contradiction: LeBron and KD repeatedly celebrating longevity and commitment. Durant has spent nearly 2 decades in the NBA and has completed an entire season only 3 times. LeBron has done it just once throughout more than 20 years. Yet they speak about dedication on podcasts as if they personally created the standard. How can you preach longevity while choosing to sit out games whenever the situation allows? And when it comes to carrying franchises, Durant's career raises another uncomfortable question. He left music, Golden State determined to prove he could win without Steph Curry. Brooklyn was supposed to be his chance at redemption. Music, instead, that chapter ended with disappointment. Phoenix was supposed to provide the answer. Another collapse followed, eventually leading to another trade request. King made his position unmistakable: Durant hasn't proved he can win without Steph Curry. After nearly 2 decades of talent and opportunity, the biggest question remains what happens when the entire burden falls on him.
And KD and Steve Nash did their little podcast thing, and they always drag the legacy.
What is it called? Is it called? Was it Cry Me a River?
Cry Me a River. I think. Cry
Me a River podcast. Oh my God! I tell you what, man. Listen, I was watching
revisionist history. They should call it.
Yeah, you know what, Mark? Great players don't have to tell people they're great.
Yeah,
That's true. You let fans do that. You let people debate it on talk radio and podcasts. You know, players don't have to do that. You know, we all know you're great. You don't have to tell us. You know, when you have to go around trumpeting that you're great and what separates you from all the other people that makes you greater than them, that's a problem. You know, that's a problem. That's why I say it's a Cry Me a River podcast, because you're crying and moaning about what they said. And they were kind of sneak dissing MJ. If you really listen between the lines, you know, they were talking about, Kevin Durant was talking about how longevity is more important than rings and all that other stuff. Being in the league basically for 20 plus years shows the dedication and the hard work that you had to do to stay here. But he failed to mention, you know, the load management and this guy only playing in no more than 3 times in his career, you know, 82 games in a season.
Yeah, right.
LeBron's only played 1 time 82 games in a season. MJ 9 times in his career played 82 games, plus playoffs and championships that goes into 115 games. So to listen to these guys discredit the former players and how great they were to you know, basically step on top of them to get themselves higher is really sad.
So we're really supposed to sit back and joke about Michael Jordan, the superstar whose legacy helped transform the NBA into a worldwide phenomenon. Even Magic Johnson, usually one of basketball's most measured and diplomatic voices, finally reached his limit. Magic has always been the connection between different generations, often searching for something positive to say about today's players. But this time, even he appeared ready to push back. What Durant and LeBron said on that podcast seemed to reinforce everything Magic had been warning fans about. The modern NBA has lost some of its competitive edge. The intensity has weakened, replaced by friendly handshakes, business relationships, and social media posts instead of authentic basketball warfare. Magic explained that difference perfectly. Whenever the Lakers and Celtics faced each other, it felt like a genuine battle. He and Larry Bird never pretended their rivalry was friendly just to satisfy the cameras. During the season, they truly disliked each other, and that tension helped produce legendary basketball. Fans could sense the emotion every time they met. Magic once explained, "I hated Larry and every Celtic. Now I love him because he's out of that green and white." That level of passion gave fans a reason to clear their schedules and watch every possession. Today, players exchange hugs before games, plan vacations together, and regularly promote collaborations across social media. The intense rivalries that once defined the NBA seem increasingly rare. And when LeBron and KD sit together laughing about Jordan's legacy, Magic's larger argument becomes even easier to understand. These stars can appear more concerned with maintaining their image than dominating their opponents. Magic even connected that change to declining NBA television numbers, saying directly, "That's why the numbers are going down." Fans can sense when players don't appear fully invested, especially when entertainment seems to matter more than competition. People are becoming frustrated paying huge prices for tickets only to watch superstar players treat meaningful games like casual practice sessions. Then Charles Barkley stepped into the conversation and delivered his own brutal assessment. Barkley argued that this isn't really about one podcast because an entire generation may have lost the hunger that once powered the league. He believes some players care more about social media followers than championships, and more about endorsement checks than adding banners to the rafters. Then he asked one uncomfortable question. If you're making $56 million a year and only playing 3 out of 4 games, why should the fans care if you don't? That criticism is difficult to dismiss. Fans spend hundreds on tickets, rearrange their schedules to see their favorite stars, and sometimes arrive at the arena only to learn those players are sitting out. Barkley's answer is simple: that's not leadership, that's entitlement. But Barkley wasn't finished. He compared the NBA with baseball, arguing that basketball players receive massive salaries while playing considerably fewer games. Baseball teams play 162 games compared with the NBA's 82, yet basketball players still face complaints about the schedule and rest demands. His conclusion was blunt and impossible to miss. Durant and LeBron represent an era that may be mistaking career longevity for genuine greatness. And in Barkley's view, that mindset is slowly draining the competitive spirit that made the NBA special.
Have a long career, that's the goal. Be in the league for 20 years. That's the goal.
Garth Gilmore told me one time, he played for Chicago, he said, if you expect to play a long time in this league, you better quit mopping up the floor. And I thought, well, he's crazy, because that's what basketball is all about.
Bird takes it away from Wilkins, goes to the floor and gets it. Gets it up ahead.
This rest stuff just drives me crazy. You're playing basketball for a living, okay? I understand if you're working in the coal mine, that you may need a rest day after it. You're playing basketball.
Playing 20 seasons while changing teams and sitting out games isn't greatness, it's branding, and putting that beside Michael Jordan's 13 seasons of unmatched dominance feels like a massive disrespect to what he accomplished. That's exactly why more fans are starting to lose interest. Shaquille O'Neal approached the debate from another side, physical toughness. Music, Shaq argued that today's NBA has become far too soft. Players avoid hard contact, stay away from the paint, and spend most of their time outside launching three-pointers. Music, he explained, if you've got a skilled guy like me in the post, that's a high percentage shot. But now, he sees players with limited inside games staying away from the paint because they, music, don't want to absorb the physical punishment. That's the bigger issue, players are chasing viral moments instead of championship banners. They want music, step backs, slow motion highlights, and flashy clips instead of sweat, bruises, and exhausting battles. Shaq also made a major point about analytics, arguing that numbers can become meaningless during the playoffs because when the pressure arrives, success depends on courage and heart. Adrenaline can destroy predictions, toughness can break trends, and that's what music separates true champions from players simply collecting impressive statistics. Jordan possessed that mentality. He competed through injuries, absorbed punishment every night, and never backed away from any challenge. Durant and LeBron, critics argue, represent nearly the opposite style. Durant stands close to 7 feet tall but often plays like a guard who wants nothing to do with the paint, staying outside instead of fully using his physical advantages. LeBron has the frame of a powerhouse, but he chooses when to attack, saves his energy, and frequently avoids the toughest defensive responsibilities. That's not music, killer instinct, that's choosing the safer path. Shaq delivered the criticism directly, that's not championship DNA. Then Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce joined the conversation and attacked music, the training habits they see across today's NBA. Garnett argued that many players think they're prepared until they face athletes who truly, music, are. During his era, teams practiced almost every day at full speed, with physical contact and hours of music intense 5-on-5 competition. That demanding routine created the conditioning needed to survive an 82-game season and the punishment of the playoffs. Today, some players spend only 30 minutes completing controlled drills with a personal trainer and believe that qualifies as serious preparation. Garnett explained the difference through specific examples. Simple exercises like calf raises, which develop explosiveness and help reduce injury problems, are often overlooked in modern workouts. He argued that today's stars avoid the boring and painful work, then wonder why their bodies keep breaking down and why they constantly require load management.
What happened to the rivalries in today's game? Like, I mean,
they don't hate each other.
That's
they don't like. See, I hated Larry and every Celtic. I really don't like you, but you're my little brother. Now I love you because you out of that green and white. That's what it was, right? The Celtics, Lakers hate each other, disliked each other. So it made for great TV and people tuning in. And now with, I don't know if it's AAU, I don't know what it is. Now everybody's shaking each other's hand. Everybody like each other, won't go at each other like really hard. Even that's what happened to the All-Star game, see?
Yeah.
See, the All-Star
game. To the All-Star game. Right there.
See, we hated the East.
Right.
I'm coming to bust you.
Right.
Michael, Isaiah, Dr. J. You can't have one over me. See, I'm coming to get that. Now,
let's see, Magic. This is what I
let them score 200 to 200.
That's exactly what Pierce was talking about, and he took the argument even further by saying, players once fought through injuries that would have today's stars sitting for weeks. And this is where the contradiction becomes extremely difficult to ignore. LeBron and KD constantly promote the idea of longevity. Durant has played every game in a season only 3 times. LeBron has accomplished that just once throughout more than 2 decades. Michael Jordan, meanwhile, completed all 82 games multiple times, played massive minutes, competed with incredible intensity, and rarely made excuses. He showed up every night because he understood his responsibility to basketball and the fans who paid to watch him. That's the kind of commitment many people associate with real greatness. The numbers tell a powerful story, and this is where the legends completely challenge the longevity case surrounding LeBron and Durant. Together, LeBron and KD have accumulated 39 seasons, almost 3 times the length of Jordan's career. That's nearly 4 decades of NBA basketball from 2 players regularly placed among the greatest ever. So what have they produced across all those seasons? 6 championships combined, 5 regular season MVPs, 6 finals MVPs, and 5 music scoring titles. That's the complete total. Now put those achievements beside Michael Jordan's resume: 13 full seasons, 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, 10 scoring titles, and 9 all-defensive first-team selections. In roughly 1/3 of the time, Jordan created more individual dominance than both players combined. That's not just someone's personal preference, that's what the numbers reveal. Having twice the career length doesn't automatically create twice the greatness. Longevity without overwhelming dominance doesn't tell the entire story. And then the conversation moved from uncomfortable to genuinely disrespectful. Durant and LeBron sat on that podcast laughing about Jordan's decision to step away from basketball and baseball, turning one of the most complicated chapters of his career into a joke. But they left out the important context behind that decision. Michael Jordan didn't leave the NBA in 1993 because he was bored or simply tired of playing basketball. If you believe the legends were right to challenge this narrative, hit that like button. Drop a comment if you're tired of today's stars trying to rewrite basketball history, and don't forget to subscribe because this conversation is far from finished.